So welcome to the Seamlss webinar/demo for today. On the agenda, so we'll do a quick welcome and introduction. While we're doing that, by all means, put some comments in the chat. Love to know about your pain points and issues you're really having with onboarding, engagement, ID checks, data collection, navigating all those things. This is briefly how long we'll go for. I'll try my best to keep it 30 minutes or less, but happy to stick around after that to answer any questions or anything further past the demo for today if anyone wants any more help or guidance with Seamlss. So who am I? I'm Clayton Wood. Obviously helped hundreds of firms now with Seamlss to improve their onboarding, make it more efficient. Co-founder of Seamlss, also award-winning business owner for Business Edge Advisors, also owner, builder of Escape Room Aubrey. So I have a few different businesses and a hand in a few of those at the same time. Many hats. Also got Daniel, co-founder of Seamlss. He's a moderator. You won't see him, but he's in the chat. Say good day. I guess the main thing for today is we want to talk about streamlining the leads and the referral processes within your firm. So are you tracking where your leads are coming from? Most firms, like mine, where you're not tracking those leads. So have you got a process? If you don't have a process, what does that look like? Some people are utilizing different email systems and things like that. Personally, it doesn't seem to work that great for me. You don't have the tangible evidence of that follow-up and process. And then obviously how you're onboarding them, how you're manually collecting those referrals, how you manage them, who's managing them. That's the initial part. Then you've obviously got the time-consuming processes around onboarding. Maybe you don't have a process. Maybe you get lots of data entry errors because there's no validation. There's nothing worse than onboarding a client and they give you TFNs and ABNs and the numbers don't work. You can't do anything with them on the ATO to identify them or do anything, loading them up. Those things just don't work. Obviously, ID checks, that's where the compliance issues can come in, and just generally poor client experience. We've talked to lots of firms where they're using multiple different apps and they're like, oh yeah, it all goes through all these different things. But at the end of the day, if the client's going from one app to another app, and it's a very disjointed process, it can be a very poor client experience. So with Seamlss, we've automated a lot of that onboarding where it's just one click of a button, sends it out, creates a bit of a standard process for your team to follow. We validate a lot of the data through the collection, so that means that when you get the data, it's good and useful. We have various ID verification options to assist with that process. And overall, they're in the one app, and we're automating that whole process of doing it in one app for onboarding and engagement for your clients. So obviously the biggest pain is the manual ID check. So if you're jumping on a Zoom or doing it in person, it can be quite intimidating for the client and your team to have to do that. If you're not doing it all or you're doing it over email, could be a lot of security issues. How are you accurately defining that verification process? Have you delivered that process so your team can continually rinse and repeat ID checks? We obviously do that as a part of the onboarding process within Seamlss. Client does it, and then you complete that onboarding process, or the admin team will. Same deal with gathering documents and data from your clients. We've all had and used those paper forms or PDFs that you can send out to the client to collect different types of data. If you're utilizing Seamlss, you can join that in as part of your onboarding process, so the files come in a consistent way. You don't have to keep chasing the clients for different responses. They will complete it within Seamlss. So that was enough of the chit chat for today. We'll get into the meat and bones of why we're here today, and that's the demo. So we'll just go through that now. Here is Seamlss. This is the dashboard. So you've got the dashboard, you've got a bit of an overview here. So here's all the imported client leads. So this is just a basic area of the leads. It's a shortened down version of the lead dashboard with up and coming re-engagements on the right here. All the clients and things that you can follow up on this side of the dashboard, and then all of the actioned items here. So there's obviously, I've actioned everything, so there's nothing to do. Now, in today's case, I'm going to onboard a new client, and we'll go through that first step of the process. So we're going to add a client. It's very easy. This is probably the first thing you're going to do is add yourself as a client. So in this case, I'm going to add Clayton Wood, and then he's going to have his entity. I'm going to call it the Cookie Monster Pty Ltd. That's what the client told me the name was. I'm going to do a client verification. In this case, because we're doing an online demo, I'm not going to do the Stripe identity because it always breaks in the middle of a demo because it doesn't like using multiple shared screens. But in that case, if you do tick the Stripe option, what will happen is the client will go through the process. It will stay within the app, and they'll take photos of their license, and they'll do a biometric verification for you and come back using Stripe. And the client will remain within the one app. So it's like they haven't left Seamlss, but it's utilizing Stripe identity. You can put in additional options if you have a set process. So some firms will say, please send a notice assessment. So as a part of that source identity requirement from the ATO, you can be specific in what you want in that regard. Some people ask you, what does that mean? We do have a little learn more button here. If I click on that, opens it up, and this is the ATO verification section. If you haven't seen it, by all means, check it out. There are all the different options you can use to verify someone. You will notice when using a source DVS option, the ATO says you also need other documents to verify them. It says and. It doesn't say and or just do a DVS. It says and that. So you've got to verify documents against the ATO data in addition to do the DVS or the source identity check. Now, we've done the ID check, or request the ID check. As a part of my onboarding process, I also add a form. So I'll have a new client form. So it might be whatever you've got. It could be the client, who's your kids' names, what's your favorite footy team. It could be anything. Whatever you want to build into that form, that is yours as a part of the onboarding process. We can also collect the ITR information when we're doing it. I recommend doing this when they are a client because you can upload the pre-fill. So you can choose the file, attach the pre-fill, and the client will be able to check the pre-fill through the ITR tool. So I'll demo that when we do the re-engagement. I have my engagement letter set. If you're using other tools for engagement, you can skip the engagement letter signing. I personally recommend all clients sign the engagement letter. So in my firm, I know that when we use the proposal tool, it will not, I just forget to list all the entities, but I know that in Seamlss, I'm onboarding all the entities. So I know they're listed in my engagement letter. When we do a tax return, we send it out, we collect the documents, we collect the data, we've got to sign an engagement letter. Before we start doing the tax return, we've already engaged, got data, we've pushed them to XPM, and we've started the whole process. So I always get the engagement letter signed, and then we're going to send the request off. You can put an additional message in there attached to the email if there was something specific you wanted to mention to the client. We'll add that client, that will send off the email, and that's gone now. So they're now in our system as a client. You'll see on the dashboard here, they're in the follow-up area, so we can send them an email or SMS reminder as well. I will switch across. Hopefully you can now see Firefox on my screen. So in this section, this is where the emails come through. It says Clayton. I've prompted Clayton, said we're going to send you a Seamlss request. So we're going to start the request. You can edit all of the contents on the email and to suit your firm's tone and the way that you communicate. And this is onboarding. This is what the client will see. So I'm going to type in my various details here as best and as quickly as I can. I'm clearly a young fella. Some of this information will help. That's not required as well. So some things clients can skip and some things they can't. So obviously with different items, the client will fill out and some they won't. I'm going to use the same address, but the client can fill that in. Tax file numbers are validated, so the client will be required to put a valid tax file number in. Director IDs are the same. They need to be 10 digits long, and the BSB will also be validated, so you need to put a valid BSB in there. Save that. Of course, my phone number's not valid. 12312. Save. Continue on. So now, if we type in the business name as a client, it will look it up on ABR lookup. So we can go, there's my entity, it gets the ABN for me, it will pull in the ACN and the postcode and state it as well. We can put in the phone numbers in there for my entity. You can put in specific emails if you had a different email. Again, the client may just select their address from previously being entered. I'm going to use the same. The TFN, again, it will get validated, so you're getting the right data, valid data. You can skip this if it was a trustee company, because a lot of trustee companies don't. And the bank BSB will be validated, so you want to make sure we're getting the right information when we're onboarding clients. Please enter a valid tax file number. I did a good job at keying it in there. Click 2. Validation works. This is a customized form, so you can customize these forms to anything you like. So in this case, it could be just filling in the details. I'm an accountant, and you just go my living situation. Amazing. With my kids. Yes, I have 2. Again, you can answer the questions however you like. You can have different types in there. They can upload files, put in comments, save and continue. And then we're doing the ID check here. So in this case, I'm going to upload my ID. So here's my ID. I'm also going to upload a notice of assessment. I will try my best to slow down because I probably go too fast. Here's an ATO pre-fill as an example. And I'm going to continue on. So there's my ID document done as a client. Now they can also do this on their phone and they can take photos. They get to this end part so they can review what items have been requested. So we've just updated the app for this. So this is allow the clients to go back and add additional information if they need to or they miss something. And it's obviously saying that they need to sign. At this point, if you've missed an entity, they can add an additional entity. So if you've said, oh, here's the trust, but you missed the trustee company. Maybe you've added the company, but they have a trust. So they can add additional items on the fly before they complete the signing. Here's my engagement letter, so I'm going to sign that now. I'm going to complete it. There's all my entities and my names, signed, dated, done, completed. So the client, we've sent off the request, they've keyed in all the details, they've uploaded some information, they've signed the engagement letter, they've done their ID check, and then we go and get to the end of this part, and we will do the agent linking. So you can download the documents and or start the agent linking guide. So if they download their documents, they'll be able to download their engagement letters and things like that. But we really want them to start doing the agent linking. So if agent linking has been a pain point for you, which many of it has, this will solve that. So the client will go through step by step. Most clients have a MyGov ID. In this case, the client did or didn't. If they say no, they didn't, it will step them through the process. So set up your MyGov ID. Get your digital identity, get started here. If you can't get strong, because most people can't get strong because they don't have a passport, you can ring the ATO and get it. We're suggesting the things that generally go wrong. Again, if they've got the RAM linked up, they continue on. But if they don't, it steps them through. It's pulling their company details and their ABN, telling them to connect it up to the RAM and go through that process. If they have a trust, it'll tell them to ring the ATO. So it's guiding them through those steps, but it also means that if the admin team gets called up, they can jump into Seamlss and go through the steps with them. If they've done all that, it'll say nominate your agent. Here it'll pull through your tax agent details, telling the client step by step in Word or picture format that they can find and guide along with. Now, at the end of the process, you can confirm that the entities are linked. So when the client confirms it's linked, that will send you an email that says Clayton's done his agent linking, telling you to go into the ATO and add him to the portal. There is the ATO official guide in there that if you've looked at that, you probably wouldn't use it. So we'll go back to the other screen, and as a client, I can now go in and download my engagement letter if I want a copy of that, or I can add another entity, and this is where the client will maintain and manage all of their requests. Now we'll go back to the Seamlss view. I'll log back in here. You'll see now that Clayton's done his request. I can mark that off as done and view the client and start onboarding and adding them. So in this case, I want to do my identity check. So I would add Clayton to the ATO portal, check his license, check that it matches, check the information against the ATO portal, check what item they provided me, that it's good, and then I want to delete the identity documents. Now, if you don't delete them, we delete them within 7 days. Now, once the admin team has gone through, added them to the ATO portal, verified different documents, you can check this off. So the process would be that you're verifying the different data points against the ATO. If you're not sure what they would be, we have a help guide, and you can go through that help guide as well. So there's a little help guide here, steps you through the process on how to do it. We do recommend utilizing the Stripe DVS option, but it's not for everyone. At the end of the day, you can request all these documents over and over again from the client. Your requirement is not to get a tick from software that says, oh, Clayton has done his verification. The scammers are getting more and more better at doing those processes. So you need to be reasonably sure. Nowhere on the ATO, TPD, does it say, get a tick from an app. It says you need to be reasonably sure the client is who you are. And we're noting the log here that you can get the verification and how you did it, and it was all good. If at a certain point you're dealing with a client online, you're like, oh, something's a bit weird. With Seamlss, it has the beauty you can request additional documents. So you can do a DBS option. You could do another source document request. You can put in an optional message in there. So you could say, hey, Clayton, I would like a notice assessment. I would like a letter from the boss that says you are acting on behalf of Business Edge Advisors and that you are authorized to deal with me. You can ask for any kind of document in relation to completing that verification process. Here is the entity that Clayton filled out. Here are all the details. If something wasn't right, you can edit it. You can edit it before you send it or after. Now, unfortunately, Clayton lied and he didn't complete his agent linking. So we'll update that process, and then I'm going to send him a reminder. So if I send him a reminder, he will get an email and be requested to complete the agent linking. So if we go back in here, here's my email reminder. Clayton, you need to do your agent linking. Cool. Let's view that. Now, when Clayton clicks view and he logs back in, it will take him straight to the agent linking. Obviously, I've changed my phone number so I can't get in there. But when he clicks on that link from the email, it will take him straight to this part here, sending him through the process again to complete the agent linking and then tick the box. So if the client isn't able to do the agent linking, you've got a feedback loop for them to either confirm it or do it as you've asked. So that part there. Here's all the forms, all the information, the answers. You'll be able to download the files. You can generate the documents from the individual side or the forms that you've created, and you can view and download them for your work paper or for your records with all the answers and things. If, depending on the way you store your data, all of the data within this will also show your tax file numbers and things like that. So I don't recommend you just download this willy-nilly to your computers. I would be making sure I store it somewhere securely. You can add notes about the client. You can see all of the history. So this is what we just sent him, and these are all the things that Clayton's just completed. It gives you timestamps, so you can follow along with where the client's up to. You can also delete the client. So if you didn't like the client, you could delete them. On the flip side, you can also push this data into Xero Practice Manager. So whoops, there was a question around what you can put in XPM. So XPM's got a limited amount of API points, but you can copy the bank details or drag them into XPM from here. We can push a fair bit of data. It will try and match the client based on the information entered. So in this case, it's matched on name, and it'll try and push it across. If it's a new client, it will go through that, and you can sync them as a new client and add them in. This won't work because obviously I put in a fake TFN. On the flip side, the same with new entities. If it can't find a match in your Xero Practice Manager when it looks it up, it will try and suggest either a new entity or not. And then you've obviously got that BAS agent option in here now as well. We will go to the next part of this, and that is re-engagement, and it is a very similar process. So I'll go to my own self now. So this is a part of when you onboard yourself as a user of Seamlss, add yourself with the same email and phone number. So let's just say in my firm, what we do is we're going to call in Clayton's job. I want him to check and confirm all the details of his entities. And I know that he has bank statements and things that I want to complete the tax returns for the cookie pot. And then I also want some documents for the other entity. And you can obviously edit the names of these, or you can just use the ones we've got. We will give you a bunch of these preloaded forms that you can utilize within your firm. You can also collect income and deduction information for their tax return. If you just had individuals, it would depend on what you're sending and what is your process in your firm to make this really easy. In my firm, we send this out to confirm the details, collect the data, sign the engagement letter, so that before we even start the tax returns and the financials, we've got all the good data to get that process done. Now, in this case, I'm going to do the ITR tool as well. I will upload the document. So in this case, it will be in here, in my demo verification folder. So here is my pre-fill. I can upload and attach that, send the engagement letter, and done. Clayton will get an email, clicks on the link, gets an SMS, logs in. There's no passwords, but it's still two-factor authentication secured. Because I'm a user at a firm, I can switch between the two views. Here's my client re-engagement. So again, the client will confirm if these details changed. They're likely to say no and just continue on the process. So you can see me going along the path here to completing the documents. They can upload the documents, they can answer the questions. Just going to skip through this because we just went through it all. Again, you can edit these questions, upload documents to suit your firm's requirements. You've probably got checklists you do now. In this case, you can see that the items are required, so I have to answer some of these questions. Let's go through. Yes, 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 yes. When you print these out, these can also formulate a part of your work papers to make the process for your team. Now, here is the tax return part of the app. Now, this is like an online tax return for your firm. Depending on the questions that they answer, will dictate the dynamic fields that show and display. I uploaded my pre-fill. So the pre-fill is here to show the client the whether they can confirm their data or not. If they say no, maybe they would say the interest is wrong, and then you got that confirmation from the client. So we'll continue on with that. Again, it's a bit like a work paper. If they've got dividends, they could add in the dividend income information, and we will get that, and they can upload that information as well. It'll calculate franking credit, they can attach files, and they can save it. Rental properties are the same. They can put in the information, go through, attach files, and save it. Continue on. Like I said, it's very dynamically created. This tax return is non-customizable. We've customized it for you to make the process very much like a tax return. So they can put in 5,000 kilometers and it'll work it out, or they can put in the logbook method. If they put the logbook method, it'll ask more questions. If they do travel, again, it'll ask more questions. And this is basically helping you prepare the tax return with the information you need for your work paper. And it'll dynamically create and change the fields along the way. So I'm going to complete that there. Here's my checklist of all the things I have or haven't done. I just need to sign my engagement letter. Again, they can add the entity, continue on, and they're done. I'm going to sign my engagement letter. You can see now you can get a full width banner, so you can replace that with the top of your letterhead if you wanted to. And I'll complete this. We're done. Again, thanks for coming. Clayton can go in, download his documents, and go through those things if he wants. Here's all the old requests. I'll show you that you can send a one-off request. So you can just say, hey, please send me your bank statements. You can just send any question you like along the way. So that's the client side. Once they've done the re-engagement, you can go back in there, mark them as done, push the updates to XPM. You can go to the forms and download all the forms, download all the documents. That's a part of the re-engagement process. So the idea is to constantly be collecting that data and have a better process for your admin team to follow along the way. Now I'm going to step back for a second and go back to leads. So that confirms you can onboard, verify, engage, re-engage, collect documents, collect data, and most firms do that all the time. The biggest thing that most firms aren't doing is leads. We've just released the leads manager, and I think this is just an awesome part of the tool because now we can make this really easy for everyone. So we've got a bunch of different little options here to show, hide, and show different fields based on who you're looking at and who's the one or lost or pending. You can also sort it by partner, manager. So you're only showing the display of who you want to display. You can also sort it by, what's worth money, what's not worth money, by name, things like that. You can quickly add a new lead using the lead manager. You can put in description, you can put in values, where did it come from? You can put in some tags. We're obviously collecting more data than you can do some stuff with because we feel like this is going to get bigger and better and come. I'm pretty excited for what's coming in the future because it's just going to level up this process. I need a lead category. Yes, it's a referral add. So now that's in the system and we can do stuff with it. So with the leads, you can edit the lead, but you can also add tasks and add action items. So give tasks to different people by action items. For this, in the future, my goal is to make it so that it is task-based, so that people are doing things in here and you are giving them tasks to do as a part of your team. The next step is the lead link. So we've always had this lead link option. Daniel has built it out to be even more effective. So you can see how many people have clicked on the lead link and actioned it. Now, this is your own custom link for your firm. When the client clicks on it, this is what they'll see. So they put in the details and they can put in a comment and submit it, and then you've got the lead. If you were to add a networking function, you might have this on your phone and then put the lead in there so you can remember back at the office to follow it up. When the client submits that information, they can go to your calendar, they could download a white paper, they could watch a video, do all kinds of things. Now, you can, at the moment, that's basically all you can do is you can edit these functions. Very soon, you'll be able to put in forms. So the beauty of adding forms will be that you'll be able to prospect people. So when they jump into the lead link, you could have a prospecting form and ask them questions to see if they're a good fit to start with. So you're already triaging the clients. On the flip side, you could be collecting new employees' details. You could be collecting ITR details from the lead link and then taking that data and getting started with it. So it's data collection from any link that you can create in Seamlss. So I'm really excited to see where we can take this, and I feel like a lot of firms will be able to send me different forms that we can all utilize. Forms, so here are the forms. So you can create and edit your own forms. You can duplicate them, you can delete them, you can build out your own. You can also use our form templates. We have a lot of form templates. If you're happy to share your form templates, I'm happy to build more. The biggest other thing is the data center. So the data center, if you're connected to XPM, or if you've used something like Handysoft, you can actually import your CSV data into Seamlss to get started using it. So you can add clients from XPM and their entities so that you can re-engage them. You can also export the data. So if you're not using Zero Practice Manager, you can export the data to other tools like, if I turned it on, the Logit option. I must have turned it off yesterday. So in this case, you can do a single export. You can Logit for Logit IT. So if you use Logit, you can use that. You can export all of your client verifications as well. So some people have asked what I'll do with my client verifications. Some people like to put it in XPM. I'm still not seeing much use for it in XPM. All you really need to do is have somewhere to show what you did, how you did it, and that it was validated, and you've got a record on it forever. So if for some weird reason you did leave Seamlss, you could export them. But I don't see many people having a need to keep a track of it, as long as you're making sure the admin team has done it and they've done it successfully. And I think you're passing that process. Just coming back to my slides, trying to make sure I've done everything that I talked about. So obviously, that is today's demo for now. I'm pretty sure I've ticked over most things. We are always building more things. the benefit of Seamlss. So it is that efficiency. It is the admin reduced time. So think about what we did just now. I sent off an email to Clayton. Clayton filled in all of his details, filled in all the company details, put in his ID checks, he signed an engagement letter. It comes back to the admin team. They add them to the HO portal, do the verification check, push a button, and inject the data in XPM. So the actual admin time has been very minimal. They're not looking for errors in forms or copying, pasting data everywhere all the time. We've got a lot of validation points. You've got the ID verification options. You've got more options to continuously verify someone if you're not sure. Keeping it all secure, keeps it all off email, and it gets deleted. Most of all, you've got a signed terms and conditions engagement letter. How do you get started? Jump on our website. It's free. 14 days. If you need an extension, just give us a buzz. I'm sure we'll give you one. As a part of the process, you can sign up for a Seamlss Success Session with myself. You can also go through the Clarity Street campus. They have a lot of help and guides in there to help get you onboarded as well. Then you can subscribe. How do you subscribe? The price is $600 annually. Now that gets you 1,200 requests. 1,200 requests is a lot for most firms. If you go over that, we'll give you a tap on the shoulder. Generally, what I find is June, July, August, September, firms send out a lot of requests, and then towards the end of the year, they don't send as many. So 1,200 could be enough. If it's not, you can just upgrade your price. Now, if you're paying monthly, it's $60 a month for 100 requests. The more you use it, the more requests you might need. Can you use Seamlss to engagement letters? Yes. You just copy your engagement letters. You can have multiple templates of engagement letters as well. So some firms have might be a bookkeeping, might be STP. They might have a few different ones they want clients to sign at different times. I recommend just one engagement letter that covers everything. You can push the data into XPM. It's all, Seamlss is all secure. It's all encrypted. It's multi-factor. We have audit logs. We pass the Xero partner security assessment every year. We're working towards ISO 27001. You can customize it for your firm. So depending on how your firm operates, might dictate how you send different things out. And you can obviously white label it with your own firm's branding. What's next? Next is that leads function. So I'm really excited to be able to collect data on the fly for different things. So if you imagine you're bookkeeping and Bob is a new employee for someone else, you could collect that employee's details and add them to your Xero file by collecting it through a lead link. If you were prospecting someone, you could get them to fill out the lead link form, and then they'll be able to say how many employees you got, how big is their turnover, what is their thing. So you're kind of seeing, triaging them if they're a right fit to start with. If they're a try kicker, you might get someone to ring them up and say, no, come back a bit later. Now, just want to say thanks. So go through the questions. If they haven't been answered, maybe Daniel can unmute himself and ask some questions because I couldn't keep up with all of the chat.
Hey Clayton, good job, mate. Pretty much answered all of them. I just had one from Ellie near the end there. Do people use Seamlss to send quotes for clients to accept, or do you recommend other apps for quotes?
Just use Xero. So a lot of people underestimate the power of Xero quotes. Like, you can have, my recommendation is to have Xero, use the items. You can do it in QuickBooks. I'm probably doing it in Mild. You know, you have the different items and the descriptions. So have an item and then say financial statements, list all the things you're doing, send the quote, get it accepted. Once they've accepted it, turn it into an invoice. If you're using something like pinch payments, you can send the pinch payments and then start getting paid. They also have recurring payments and things like that. So once you spin up a Xero invoice and you make it recurring, Pinch will automatically take that money. So you can just utilize quotes in Xero. Don't get me wrong, there are proposal tools out there that can make it look prettier and stuff. If you're trying to serve a specific client, you would probably subscribe to that. But what we've noticed in my firm is that while that helps, it's not a requirement as much for us. For us, clients just want to know the price, they want to know what's included, and it's more me selling the value to the client when they're in front of me, me explaining that process of saying, this is what we're going to do, this is the process, this is how it's going to go, and then they go, cool, here's the invoice, pinch payments, take the money, done. Does anyone not know what pinch payments is? Maybe Daniel could paste a link in there for you. But yeah, we use pinch payments at my firm. I love it. It's great. Amazing Australian Aussie startup. We use Ignition for sending quotes. Yeah, we use Ignition in my firm as well. And all I did is copy the terms and conditions from Ignition, paste it into Seamlss. So that's what I'm talking about with the proposal tool. If I forget to leave an entity in there, I know that I've got it in Seamlss. So no one's ever said I'm not signing both. Most clients just go, yep, confirm. The idea is you want to sign those terms and conditions so you can add them to the ATO portal and get that approval process started so that you can onboard, engage, verify, and that sort of thing. I think that a lot of firms start an engagement letter and they hold on to it and it's everlasting. In saying that, and signed engagement letter from 5 or 6 years ago is very out of date now. A lot of changes have happened since then. So the process of re-engaging with Seamlss has twofold benefit. Clients confirm their data and their details haven't changed, their address, their bank details, things like that. You're collecting the documents before you start the job, and you've got to sign engagement letters. So when you send out the tax return, you've confirmed that they're going to pay you, you've got the right details in the front cover, and you've got the data to prepare the tax returns and financial statements. Is there any other questions or anything? I think we're pretty good there. I think everyone's answered.
Yeah, that's it, I think.
From here, like I said, jump onto the Seamlss website to get started. And you can start now for free from here. And if you do that, it's fairly straightforward. You just put in your details and get started. Once you're on board, you can use Xero to sign up. If you have any questions, reach out. If you want another demo, book in a demo. I did mention that there is a Seamlss success session. So the idea with that is that once you get onboarded, you can try this. If you struggle, I'm happy to go through all of your settings and set up to make sure that you're on board 100%. I did go over by 10 minutes. Apologies. Hopefully I didn't go too fast. Thanks everyone for attending today. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.